everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we're connecting events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And today we're looking at this idea of never-ending summer. Can embracing boredom help us grow? It's prompted by an advice article that was recently in the Washington Post. It was actually for parents, although this is not a parenting episode. But it was interesting that the number one question parents were asking for summer is, what do we tell our kids when they say they're bored? What do we do with bored children? And it's interesting because summer is a time of boredom, not just for kids, but for a lot of us. Because life can, in a lot of areas, slow down over the summer. And that can result in a sense and feeling of boredom. What do I do with extra time when I find myself having extra time? But I actually want to offer this thought. Maybe boredom isn't a bad thing. In fact, boredom might actually be an indicator of some bad things. Boredom in our modern culture can tend to come from two places. One is that we are a culture that primarily gains our identity in our work, in the things that we do. And so boredom can be another way for saying, I feel unproductive. I feel like I ought to be doing something. And the other source of boredom can be that we are overstimulated all the time. We're only arm's length away from our phones, which contain in some ways the whole world. We have streaming networks and countless opportunities to be entertained. So when we say we're bored, oftentimes what we mean is I should be doing something, I don't feel good about myself, or I should be stimulated, I don't know what to do with myself. But the thing is, neither of those is really a biblical concept. The Bible has a lot to say about rest, about how rest reinforces the idea that we are not wholly dependent upon ourselves, that we need God to be in charge. We need God to be working for us. And overstimulation is actually the antithesis of what the Bible has to say about meditation, contemplation, about filling our minds and hearts with the scriptures. So I actually want to suggest that boredom might be an indicator that you and I need to grow. Now, how do we do that? Well, I think there are 3 steps to leveraging boredom as a source of spiritual growth. The first step is to realize that boredom is showing me how deep down the rabbit hole of productivity and stimulation I really am. It's equivalent to an addict that's detoxing. The length of time you can go without getting high tells you just how bad your substance abuse problem is. In the same way, let me ask you a question. How long are you capable of just doing nothing? What I have found, even personally, is that more and more, my tolerance for doing nothing is shorter and shorter and shorter. Without even thinking, I'm reaching for my phone. I'm reaching for the remote. I'm looking for something to do. Boredom is a reminder to me that I have bought into a culture that wants to keep me moving constantly. When I feel bored, I should begin to see that as kind of a red light indicator that my productivity meter or my stimulation meter actually out of bounds. Boredom is a reason to start paying attention to where I'm at in those areas. The second step is, instead of reaching for stimulation or productivity, instead I can begin to rewire my habits and my patterns. Boredom can send me towards reflection, towards conversation, towards contemplation and prayer. Boredom can actually push me to do more meaningful things. When I'm bored, it should be reminding me, well, have I spent time with the Lord? Do I need to go for a walk? Are there things I need to think about, things I need to wrestle with? Is there a better use of my time for my soul, for my brain, for my heart, than just reaching for stimulation or productivity? Oftentimes, boredom can be the gateway into great time with the Lord, or great time with each other, even great time with ourselves as we learn to reconnect with what's going on in our hearts and in our heads. And here's the third step. Boredom over the summer, if we use it to reconnect, can actually get us ready for the fall and the winter and the rest of what will be a busy year. Summer affords us the opportunity to rewire and reconnect. For most of us, the fall and the winter will blink and they will be over. So in summer, we can begin to lay the groundwork for a new approach to how we think about our time, a new approach to how we think about those moments where we have nothing to do. In other words, I guess I'm saying, I hope we all have a boring summer. summer, and that God meets us in the midst of that boredom and makes us people of rest, people of true relationship, and people of true self-understanding, that stimulation and productivity wouldn't get in the way of the spiritual flourishing that God desires for each one of us. So I hope you're bored, and I hope you continue to be, and I hope God uses it as a tool for growth this summer. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to get future content from Wake Up Look Up and from Christ Community Chapel. And while you're here, check out the other videos we have available.